All right, guys, Ronin man here. Beautiful morning out at the pool. This time I'm in the pool and loving it. It's so nice and warm here in Thailand. Uh, Today I'm going to talk about something that's going to be pretty controversial, probably for people that don't have a brain, and not so controversial for guys who know something and listen. How's that for an intro? Okay, if you're coming to Asia, the first thing you should do is get divorced. So for example, let's say that you work for a company and they offer you a job in Asia, in Tokyo, for example. And you think, oh wow, Tokyo, and you tell your wife and she's all excited, or she doesn't want to go, whatever. She's a stick in the mud or whatever, she wants to go or she doesn't want to go. It doesn't really matter, but the thing you should do is immediately get divorced before you come. Because the thing is like 70% of expats end up in divorce anyway, within like 3 years of being an expat. The reason why is because they get hit on by hotter women on a regular basis. And the guys have affairs, and because the guys are not, they're not seasoned, they're not used to it. So they tell the truth, and they might tell the woman that they cheated, and they might have a big fight, and then they get divorced, and it's a big incrimination. They lose all their money, and it's just a miserable situation, and it's not good for his job because the companies don't like when you get divorced, especially like an acrimonious divorce where there's like fighting and things like that, right? So it's really better to get it handled before you come. I guess what you should think about, and I'm telling you the truth here, you should definitely get divorced before you take an expat position. And the reason why is because you're going to be approached by much, much hotter women than you're used to, because your social status will be different in this new country. I'm not saying that, that people are going to worship you, or that, there's this. I'm not saying, just listen very carefully what I'm saying. The environment is different, and because the environment's different, okay, there's different, there's the marketplace, right, of supply and demand for you, for different types of guys, right? The supply and demand and the social status that you represent are different when you go overseas. That's just a fact, okay? So because of that, you will be approached by either higher or lower status women. In the case of Asia, you're going to be approached by higher women than you're used to, and that pisses a lot of people off. And there's a lot of videos about that. That people are resentful that basically foreign guys have a better situation in Asia than they would back home. Which is really hilarious, actually, when you think about it. It's like when nobody complains about when a Swedish woman moves to Canada, for example, and has way more guys after her. Like, no one complains about that. Or when a Filipino moves to America and gets, more guys are chasing her. Like, where are the videos about that? There's no videos about that, because that's women having a better situation based on where they live and moving, right? When guys have it, all of a sudden it's a huge human rights abuse, and oh my God, and I tell you something, you can raise your status, and you should raise your status. You should move to where you are the most in demand, okay? That's just a fact as a guy. You should move to where you get the best pussy, the best women, and the best situation that you possibly can. And that is the truth with any man, and I believe any woman, anybody in the world. If you're a dog getting beaten in the backyard, you should move, you should run away and get to a house where they treat you right. It's just a natural thing, right? But when men do it, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, oh no, men are getting laid easier, and they're not paying as much money, and they're not tied down, and oh my God, it's like kind of reaction society has, right? Which is total bullshit. Okay, so blow that off. So next thing is, you now work for a company and they're offering you a job in Tokyo. The first thing you should do is dump your wife. Absolutely dump your wife. Just sit down with her and just get a very good lawyer, and divvy up your stuff, make a decision about what she's going to get, what you're going to get, and then take your new position overseas. And that's it. Boom. Done. And get over to Tokyo and start to mingle with the local ladies, and you'll find you'll be very, very happy that you did this in advance. I'm going to tell you what happens if you don't do that, and I've seen this happen a million times living in Asia for almost 30 years, is what happens is expats get overseas, and they tend to have very hot women hitting on them, right? So for example, you might have a beautiful secretary, long hair, young, skinny, and she's hitting on you. She's trying to You know what I mean? She likes you, and Valentine's Day gives you a little chocolate. She's wearing a little sexier clothes than usual. She's making her moves on you, and here you are with this like fat, white wife. Like looks like shit, and you're just like going, what am I doing here? So what happens with guys when they go overseas, expats, is they all get divorced eventually. Most of them get divorced. Most expats get divorced. Okay, that's just a fact, and it's something that companies hide too. I used to do recruiting for companies, and I would watch companies basically cover it up. The fact that when guys got overseas positions, they would get divorced, and it's just a fact. But they don't want to talk about it because it's just very uncomfortable. It's one of these uncomfortable truths, right? Is that and why did they get divorced? Why? What's the reason? The reason why they get divorced is because hotter women want to fuck them. That's it, and that screws things up. And a lot of these guys are not very experienced with women, so when they get overseas, let's say they have a hot secretary. I'll give you a typical example of a friend of mine. Is he had this secretary, and she would take him out to. They would go out to Xintiandi. The reason why is because there was a lot of traffic to where he lived. This is in Shanghai, out at the American school, and so there was so much traffic that he would end up after work going out and grabbing some dinner at Xintiandi, this beautiful place near his office. Well, his secretary would come with him, and she made the move on him, and they ended up going to a hotel. And he felt bad about it, right? So he goes to his wife and starts to hem and haw and tells her. But next thing you know, she's absolutely crazy, upset, and running around and talking to bad about him to the maid and everybody that she can talk to, and she's taking the kids, and then he got divorced, and it was a very miserable divorce. It hurt him at work because the affair came out in the company. The woman had trouble; she got fired, and everything kind of unraveled. He lost his job. Well, it kind of happened slowly. Like after, it wasn't in Asia. They didn't mind that he fucked his secretary. That was fine. She was hot, and his wife was ugly. Everybody understood. Asians are pretty realistic on this stuff, So they were like, okay, yeah, right. Of course, the guy would fuck her, right? But that wasn't the problem. The problem is that he let it become a problem. If he would have just quietly boned her, everybody would have been totally fine with that in his office. But the thing is the people that looked to him as a leader had a difficult time because here he is coming in and acting like a junior high school boy and just, making a big mess and telling everybody, and like a big fight, and the wife leaving and the company having to pay to move them back, and divorce, and him not sleeping and looking tired, and the secretary getting fired. I mean, it's just terrible. It's just in Asia, like it's totally common knowledge, and it's understood that you're going to have another woman. You're not going to have only your wife. You're going to get dirty massages, and you're going to sleep with the secretary. That's just like normal in Asia. Second wife and all that stuff. And there's many other cases of that, but not just second wife. There's like a million different scenarios for guys to basically, let's say, have sex, ejaculate, whatever, outside marriage with other women. It's a normal thing in Asia, right? And so that's accepted. It's not accepted in any situation. There are rules. You have to follow the rules in Asia. And if you don't follow the rules, then God help you, you're gonna get the sharp end of the stick, and that's what happened to this guy. So if you are moving to Asia, the odds are really high. Like let's say your company decides to move you, the odds are very high you're going to get divorced anyway. Okay, so the best thing to do is to head it off at the pass, be mature about it, and just say, this has been a good thing for me. This marriage has been fun, and I've enjoyed it, and you've been great, and the kids and everything. But let's just go ahead and end this now and move on. And may split up whatever you got to split up, pay the price, and then get out of there, and then get over to Asia. And you're gonna have a lot more opportunity. You'll have a lot more opportunity for one night stands. You'll have a lot more opportunity for threesomes, just different things that you would probably enjoy. Open your mind a bit, and even the most clueless expat tends to get laid by fairly hot women. So. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because you might not have the self-esteem. You might think, someone like me, nobody would want me, and you're gonna have all these ideas in your mind that you're not attractive enough, or you're not rich enough, or you're bald, or whatever it is. You think that it's gonna hurt you so much. But actually, it's not true. When you move social environments, different things are valued, and there's different values on those different things. And you can't really predict what you're going to look like to these other people, other women. So, basically don't even try, but just go with the wisdom of the crowd and just say, look, let's call this thing, let's end this thing now. Because the thing is, what happens when you don't do this? I'll tell you a story of a very good friend of mine, and I don't want to give too many details because this is somebody very close to me. But okay, I was over in Japan, and I've talked about before about having, I don't know how many women, but it's definitely over 500, right? And so he moved over to Japan at the same time I did, or no, it was years later, but I mean, same area. We were friends before, and he's very wealthy, very, very, very wealthy. And so when we were in America, we were in different classes. I mean, completely different classes. Like he's in the ultra rich, ultra connected, and I was in the typical normal family, right? And so in America, we were there was a big gulf between us. We were still good friends because of something we had in common, but there was a huge gulf between us when it came to society. But when we moved to Asia, and this is something neither of us really understood when we first got there, was when we got there, I don't know how many girlfriends I tended to have anywhere between 5 and 7, usually at the same time. And I would kind of have girls circling in and out, and girls, regulars. And then I had like 1 or 2 that were like long-termers that would be with me for a long time, and maybe as much as 10 years. And then the other girls would circle in and out. They would be my regulars, right? So he came into town. He came in with his wife, and so everything was great, right? Hey, good to see you. Welcome to Tokyo, right? And meanwhile, I was, living my life, enjoying my life, and he invited me over for dinner, and would come over for dinner, and I'd bring over a girl, and then the next time I'd come over for dinner, I'd be with another girl, and then another girl. We'd go climb Mount Fuji, and I'd bring another girl, and then we'd go out to karaoke with another girl. We'd go walking, another girl. The 6 girls would call, and like messages, and there'd be these stories would come up, and sometimes I'd meet girls in front of him, because I was single, right? So I could just talk to girls, and if girls came up and were friendly, I would just start talking to them, get their number, or whatever. We'd take them with us, or we'd go climb, do something together. And he was tied in because he had this wife and he had this Western mentality. And so what happened was, I didn't notice. It took me years. I'm making this video like years and years later. This is over a decade later. It took me a decade to really understand what was happening. But here's what I think was happening. What was happening was, he was slowly, in the States, he was like a way higher status than me. And he was like living the high life. He had the nice cars, the nice house, whatever he wanted essentially, in life. And status and respect and all that, right? And when he got to Asia, like, it was all new to him, so he wasn't really like, it was taking him time to kind of assess the situation. He was enjoying it, and but then slowly he realized that as a married guy, he was very, very hemmed in. And then he kind of slowly realized that all these hot women were hitting on him, and he couldn't do anything about it because he was tied into his wife. And now an Asian guy would have just go ahead and screwed him, and then moved on and kept the wife. And an Asian guy, what he would have done is he would have started sleeping with these hot girls that hit on him very, very discreetly, or he would have gotten girls on the side in other cities where he could go visit them on weekends, or he would have a discreet situation. An Asian guy might have a apartment with a girl in one city, and he would pay for the apartment. He might have a girl in another city, another girl in an apartment, and he would pay for that. He might have a girl, like let's say an 18-year-old girl, that he would pay for her university education. So he'd have her for 4 years and would support her. And then she would be his girlfriend. And that would be a situation that an Asian guy might do. But the Western guys, they don't have these traditions, right? We don't have these things. We have this supposed true love and, like pair bonding, and, you stay with one girl no matter what kind of thing, no matter how fast she gets or how ugly she gets or how mean she gets or whatever. You just kind of stay with her until total disaster and then marriage, and then you lose everything, right? That's kind of the Western way, right? So he didn't have these options in his mind. He had them, but he just didn't know it. So what he had misery, because every day he would go out on the town, and I guess he was miserable for two reasons. One is that he had, like, his secretary and all these hot women were hitting on him, and I heard the very graphic stories of this. I don't want to give too many details, but yeah, the women, they when they want something in Japan, they definitely make a move, and they make it obvious at point if they really want it, and then they're going to make it obvious to you at some point. And it can be very, very sultry, like if you're not used to the way Asian girls hit on guys, like it can be super, super nuclear hot, and so, because it's different too. It's just different. Guys, people like different when it comes to sex, right? You don't like the same every time, right? So surprises and different can be hot, right? He would himself be hit on by women, and he couldn't do anything about it. So that was miserable because, I guess, a few reasons. One is they were hotter than he was used to. They were more common than he was used to, and they looked different and exotic, and that was also attractive, right, to him, obviously. And the thing called yellow fever, which is basically attraction to Asian women, and that's demonized, and which is total bullshit. But I'm going to make another video about that. But I've been kind of waiting on that one. So he had that. So he had himself being hit on by hot women, and he also had the other situation was watching me just with ease rolling through the hot girls. And here I was at the time. I mean, I was not making a lot of money. I was just a normal guy. Back home, I was a totally normal guy. And here I was just rolling through the hot women. And it was just like, so the combination of him getting hit on by hot women and not being able to do anything about it, and me as a lower status guy, much lower status than him in the world, getting way, way hotter women, that was just driving him insane. Like literally slowly, as he realized the situation, drove him more and more insane. And finally, he did something really, really mean to me. And I realized it. I can't even say I realized it. It took me, like I said, a decade to really realize it. And I have more sympathy for him now that time has passed. Because I realized, like, God, what was he going through? Like all these hot women hitting on him. And, it was just humiliating to be this, like, rich guy who's, like, dating this woman who's, like, aging and, and turning down these, like, super hot women who were, like, not just hot sexy wise, but like hot for him and making the moves on him. And also these options of, Asia, there's a lot of different sexual services that are available. I don't ever take those because I don't pay for women, but they're available and they are attractive to married guys. And he was so hemmed in by his Western logic that he couldn't even, like, go to these, like, happy ending massages or, go do a girl at the Turkish bath or the soapland or whatever. He was just so hemmed in. So he was like the combination of his own shackles in his mind, society shackles, the physical shackle, and not knowing how to end it. What he should have done is just called a spade and just said, look, it's been great married to you, and the kids are great. And, like, I thought this is what I wanted. I thought this was going to make me happy. But now I realized, in his mind, he's like, I realized that there's more to life. There's more. I can get more than I thought out of life. There's more fun. There's more things to do. And he could have just gotten divorced and then just, started to play the field in Japan, get a ton of girls. If he wants a new family, he can have a new family. That's easy. Younger woman. And it's been proven that guys who marry younger women live longer. So that would be a good move he could do. A younger, hotter woman, obviously, I would say probably even longer. So if you're going to move to Asia, the smart thing you should do right away is get divorced. Don't wait. Because the longer you wait, the more you're going to regret it. You will regret it. You're going to regret it more than you ever imagined. And I think this was, like, for my friend, it was like a seminal period in his life that he'll never be able to go back in time, because now he's older. He's gained a lot of weight since then. So he's, like, obese now. So instead of, like, sliding his cock into these hot women back in his youth, now he's, 15 years older, and it's just not the same. Like when I have sex today, it's just not the same as 15 years ago. It just doesn't, have the excitement it has. When you're young, that's when it's the hottest, you know? I mean, it can be good. I mean, sex is good at any age, obviously, but it is just so hot when things are new. You know what I mean? You get your first Asian girl, you know, you're doing it the first time in this situation or that situation or this way or that way, you know, with their friend or whatever. It's hot, right? It's super hot, right? And, you know, it's like travel, you know, like I traveled a lot when I was young. And those vivid memories are very different than when I travel now. I love traveling, and I travel now all the time, but it just doesn't quite have the electricity it used to have. When I was young, and the very first time I climbed a volcano and went into with the sulfur in the top and the heat and the smoke, and, you know, just it was so exciting when I was young. You know, you're young, you're just full of energy, and I have a lot of energy now, and I feel very great, and like I talk about that all the time, but it just is a little bit different, right? Sleeping with super hot girls, tons of them when you're young, is different than when you're old. And obviously they're both good. It's good to sleep with a lot of women when you're young and when you're old, and to have a lot of experiences. You should do both, right? But it is different. It is different. You know, just like eating, like, well, I'm just thinking about that too. Eating good food when you're young, your taste buds are more clear. You know, as you get older, your taste buds do dim, and your sense of smell does dim, and you know, really high quality steak doesn't taste quite as good, not quite as good. If, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that life gets worse or anything. I'm just saying the truth, right? The truth. And there's probably other things that you can really enjoy when you get older. Like, you know, I've gotten into yoga recently, and I would have never gotten into that when I was younger. So there is a lot of enjoyment in older age that is really cool and awesome. But let's call a spade. Things change. Screw a lot of hot women, you know, when you're young especially, and don't take a losing situation. You know, just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you have to continue making mistakes. If you're married to a woman that's aging, and you know, some chick, feminist, whatever, and gaining weight, you know, just make the situation, get that mistake out of your life. You know, don't live with it. You're listening to the red pill here, you know what I mean? Like, don't just sit there and just think, oh, theoretically, yeah, I should do that, or, you know, this guy's right. No, get free, man, get free. And if you're going to Asia, if you're going to like Brazil or Asia or Colombia or something, like, don't even think about keeping your wife. I mean, don't even like make a big deal out of it. It's like a jacket that you don't even wear anymore. Just throw it away, you know, just fucking get rid of it, you know, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's like an old piece of clothing, you know, that you used to think was so great. You know, my friend had a leather jacket he used to always wear when he was in college and high school, and then he realized like it just looked stupid, and he got rid of it, you know. And same with a wife that is no longer necessary, or, you know, you just realize you have other goals and things like that. Don't even like you don't even need to feel bad about leaving a wife. Like, there's no need to go through any kind of like grieving process. It's like, it's just kind of the only thing you lose is you lose like the sense of maybe the memories that they have of you, and, you know, like the memories you have together and things you share. You know, you still have those, but they're not exactly the same when, you know, you can talk about them and laugh about the time on the bus, but that's about all you lose is those kind of shared memories, and you can make all kinds of new memories with your new girl. So guys, life is good, travel is good, women are good, your value is different in different countries. Don't even think that you are the same wherever you go, and take advantage of these information. This is not just theoretical. Make changes, take a risk, have balls. Don't sit around and like just, you know, gather like worthless information that you never use. You know, like, be a stud and go out there and do things that you want to do. I tell you, I never regret all those women I fucked when I was in my 20s, when I first got to Asia. Oh, it was like a treasure. I mean, I felt like a king or something, like a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it was fucking believable. It was even now, you know, like when I tell stories, when I tell people about what I experienced, they like literally just like are just mesmerized by the stories. And it's like, I think, God, I'm so lucky. I am so freaking lucky, you know? And we all have that opportunity to be lucky. So we're sitting here, we're listening, we're learning. So guys, don't fucking live a mediocre life, and don't be afraid of hardcore changes. Just because you married the girl, just because your parents think this, just because society thinks this, throw her off like an old fucking jacket. Like it's like no regrets at all. Just like, hey, you know, it's great knowing you kind of thing. You know, you're awesome. You know, it's kind of like when you go to school, right? You go to high school, right? High school was awesome. 4th grade was awesome. You loved it, right? 5th grade, it was awesome, right? But, you know, as soon as you left, you didn't, like, regret leaving it. You're just like, okay, 4th grade's over. Now I'm in 5th grade, right? That's the way you think about your wife. Just like, oh, yeah, that was awesome. That was great in that period of my life, yeah? But now that's over. See ya! See ya! Hello, hotties, right? And hello, new experiences. Hello, freedom. You know, hello, like new vision and new fucking new everything, new physical experiences, new smells, new fucking everything, you know. So be open to that. Be open to that. And the only way you can be open to that is if you make yourself open to that. You can't, don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. You need to make changes in order to reap the benefits of this red pill life. You need to make changes. You can't just sit around. And also you need to make changes internally and externally, right? Internally in the sense that you need to make, see yourself differently and realize that you have value that's different than you thought. And externally, you might have to move. You might want to move. You might want to go back to school. You might want to do different things. You might want to get divorced. But it's all experimenting in life. And if you ever get divorced and you regret it, which I seriously doubt long term you're going to regret divorcing some aging, white chick. But let's say you did. If you did, you can always do it again. I mean, it's no big deal. Getting married is like the easiest thing in the world, right? If like there's nothing easier than getting married. Like literally, I could get married. Like I got two women I could call. One phone call could be married. You know, it's like, why would I do that? Call them and they would be so happy. You know, they're like, hey, let's get married. They'd be just like on the next plane, just coming over to see me. But why would I want to do that? Why? But you just so you know the options there. You should know the options there. You're not. Divorce is no big deal. You can always get married, and women always want to get married. It's the easiest thing in the whole world. It's like the standard default thing, and so there you go. That's my take. I wish I could have told my friend earlier what to do, but I didn't. I was too young. I didn't realize, and I wish I didn't have to put him through the misery of watching me fuck all these hot women, and like hearing all these stories. Like I didn't realize it was driving him so insane. It wasn't until now I can see that. Because the way I looked at it at the time is I said, hey, this guy's super, super rich. He's got a great situation. How could he possibly be jealous of me? Little old me, normal guy. But, looking back, what do guys get jealous about? They get jealous about things like this, So it's not logical. We're not logical creatures, human beings, So, and also the value of things is not what society tells us, right? Snaking your penis into some super hot, girl with wet pussy is just fucking pretty sweet. It's a very good feeling. It's a fresh girl that you don't know that well and doing different things you're not used to, and maybe having a tighter pussy than you used to, and being skinnier than you used to, and making new sounds and stuff like that is pretty awesome. It's enough to drive a guy insane, and it has driven many guys insane. Paper is just money. It's pieces of paper. Money is just paper and digits in a fucking bank account. I mean, it is important, but there's other more important things, and one of them is health and travel, and like I said, women and reproduction can be a very exciting thing, and it's more real than even money. So, enjoy your life. Make the tough decision. Dump the bitch. Yeah. And go and be free. And with your newfound decisions, understanding of life, desires, and knowledge that you can actually get what you want. And you're more valuable than you thought, depending on where you are in the world, right? So get it, guys. Go and get it. Life is not what you thought. There's much, much more. and there's much, much more for you. Guys have been getting a fucking bad deal for a long time, and I'm here with this channel is to tell you is that you're valuable, man, and you can get way, way better than you thought. Way, way better. Thanks for watching, guys. Dump the bitch if you're coming to Asia. All right, Ronin Man signing off.